How's it going, Twin Cities home shoppers? Hey, it's Sean and Blanca with Sean and Blanca Real Estate, and today we had a question from one of our social media friends. His name was Michael, and he asked, do I really need a realtor if I'm buying a new construction home? And that's a great question. The answer is pretty complicated, but we're gonna walk you through this vlog. We're gonna show you some of the things that we do for our clients and let you decide. Plus, we're gonna give you some really good checklists and added values and ideas inside the blog. So make sure, check it out. We're gonna link it in the description. But let's dive right in. So first of all, this question really depends on what agent you're talking about, because there's a lot of agents out there who kind of tag along for the ride. They're not really working hard in negotiating. They're not always, knowing even about the new construction process. So I think it's going to be pretty difficult for some agents to really help you along the journey with new construction. That's why we kind of understand this question. On the flip side, someone like us who have been working in the business for over 15 years, we've done multiple new construction deals, whether that's building from the ground up, buying an existing new construction home. We've seen all the different kinds of builders when it comes to their quality, where they cut corners. And so we have a wealth of knowledge that we're here to share with you. And like I state in the first section of the blog, it's not always about just negotiating the sale price. Of course, that's going to be super important, but there's so many other things. And what we're referring to is, now this build could be, a 3-month process or a 6 months process. Who's going to be there during this time to look out for you, to offer you some advice? Because if you understand builders, they're in it for a profit, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but they want to hurry the buyers through as fast as they can, get them to sign the documents, agree to the most easy upgrades and most simple plans that they can, so they can just mass produce and build as many houses as they can. They're not interested in taking the time and kind of thinking about like what upgrades would be best. And many times, they don't even allow for certain upgrades depending on the builder. So guys, with this, let's check out some of the things that we do. And we're gonna start with right here. Like I said, like I was saying about negotiating, what we also do is we check to make sure that there's any free upgrades, if there's any free incentives, if there's any deals going on with lenders, title companies. We're gonna make sure that you get all the best deals written into the purchase agreement so that you can maximize and save the most money possible. Number 2 is the guidance. And so, like I said, it might take 3 months or 6 months to build a new house. We're gonna be there the whole time so that when all these questions come up, you're gonna have someone to go to for straightforward answers. And for this section, I want you to just go down to the frequently asked questions. And I'm not gonna go through all of these because that would take forever, but some people ask us like, what about these big national builders? I mean, what are your thoughts on those? And so we've sold their houses before. They do a good job. There's lots of code, which is, rules that they have to follow. So really you're building a good house with the national builders, but there are things you need to watch out for with them because they like to upgrade. They like to upsell you into oblivion. And so that can be a little bit frustrating when they offer you a very good price, but then by the end of the day, you're through $300,000-$400,000 more, okay? So we can touch on that later. Will you need an inspection if you're buying a new house? Well, they're gonna tell you you don't. But guys, we found leaky windows, faulty plumbing, and all kinds of stuff when people buy new construction. So we have great inspectors that can help you do the inspection. A couple more of these here I wanted to touch on. You might want to look at other financing options when buying new, because they offer, a lot of builders have their preferred builder or their preferred lender, but you might be able to get a better rate or better options on going somewhere else. Also, this is one that we really can't talk too much about, but what about the neighborhood? Okay, what about like where you decide to build? Because I remember we had a client there a few years back who was gonna buy a really nice house, and they were kind of asking about the neighborhood, and I don't know if I want to build over there because yes, it was a decent development and it had a pool, but they weren't sure about the neighbors, they weren't sure about the neighborhood. And so we just simply advised them, go take a walk through the neighborhood on a Saturday afternoon and see what interactions you have with neighbors. And they took our advice and they came back and said, Sean and Blanca, we don't want to live in that neighborhood. And they ended up coming and buying in a different area where I was really showing them more homes anyway. It was a really nice area. And so they thanked me for that, because had they walked into the builder's office, they would have just signed up and they would have bought into a neighborhood that really didn't fit their culture. Okay, it was more about a cultural thing about the neighborhood with it. They just didn't fit. So that was interesting. What about things that you might be missing that you don't really notice that could affect the sale, the future sale, the resale, or the enjoyment of the neighborhood? Folks, there's a lot of times where people don't really realize it, but there's a railroad track running through close, main roads, even cell phone towers, things that are just not normally visible that you don't think about until after the fact, or like a main road that's going to be built next year that you weren't thinking about. Now it's going to, cut through the neighborhood more, and it's going to have more traffic through your area. So there's lots of things, guys, that are just unknown, and that's why work with an agent, with a good agent, is going to have all those options open up for you. Okay. There's also hidden costs of buying new construction. For example, what happens when the builder was like, okay, do you want a deck? Putting on a new deck, they charge an astronomical amount of money for a new deck. It's really better if you just wait and do the deck like later on with a different company, because you're going to get a much better deck anyway and way cheaper. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys read through the rest of those. And the other things I want to point out is that we offer some really good incentives on top of all of our guidance and expertise, and that is our client discounts. Okay, so I want you to go to the blog, open up client discounts over right here, and it's gonna open up to this page right here. And so we own a separate company called Smart Home MN, where we get really good products at dealer cost, and we pass on as much savings as we possibly can to our clients. And so it's electronics, it is anything from furnaces and ACs. We even have connections with local appliance stores. What's that one called? Warner Stallions. We can get you builder pricing through Warner Stallions. Also, my favorite is like all the electronics, so smart home equipment, audio gear, anything to do with the house, projectors, all kinds of stuff. And we save our clients a lot of money. Now, on top of that, we have connections. So if you're doing projects, and say 2 years from now, you're gonna say, hey, Sean and Blanca, we're gonna put on that deck, we're gonna do some landscaping. We have some great contacts that we can send your way, and they always do a good job for our clients. So make sure to check out that. And then if you wanna bounce over to the other one we have, is called our buyer promotion, our buyer promo. And when you open that one up, currently we're running some packages, and I'll just tell you the most common ones that people really like are the smart home package, where you get an automated hub, light bulbs, a Ring doorbell, the thermostat that you can control. So that one's super common. And also the party house, which you get Sonos music systems to put in your house and control your music wirelessly. Currently, right now, we're in the middle of the coronavirus, so we are donating. For every closing, we're providing 300 meals for local Minnesota families. And so we think that's super, super good. And with your help, we're gonna do a lot this year. So guys, always just give us a call. You can read this stuff, you can watch videos, but we're not here to, lock you into a contract and pressure you guys to do anything. So give us a buzz, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, follow us, and we will be in touch. Talk to you later.